You are hovering over the Confirm button, about to sign a Web3 transaction. You feel safe because the website proudly displays an audited badge. But what if the code you interact with isn't what was actually reviewed? Look at this chart tracking cumulative DeFi losses over time. Over $16.65 billion has been lost to hacks. The trajectory is escalating, hitting $3.4 billion in 2025 alone, largely driven by events like the $1.4 billion Bybit breach. Almost all of the major spikes on this timeline share a disturbing commonality. The protocols breached were fully equipped with standard, finalized audit PDFs at the exact moment their vaults were drained. The industry operates under a dangerous assumption. Investors and users treat these static marketing badges and downloaded reports as ironclad guarantees of absolute safety. A PDF is a frozen, offline document, representing a single snapshot from weeks or months ago. Smart contracts, however, execute in a highly dynamic, constantly mutating on-chain environment. Relying on static marketing assets to secure a state-mutating ecosystem creates a massive blind spot. This dissonance is a root systemic failure, directly responsible for billions in preventable losses. Traditional security reviews have a strict operational limit. They only validate a snapshot of a codebase that existed at a specific moment in the past. Modern smart contracts are rarely deployed and abandoned. Development teams continuously patch bugs, upgrade the logic, and alter administrative permissions. This creates what we call the temporal security gap. It is the widening window of time between the completion of an audit and the exact second a user executes a live transaction. If the underlying code is modified even slightly during this gap, the findings within the audit report instantly disconnect from the live operational environment. A static PDF cannot protect your wallet at the moment you sign a transaction because it lacks any awareness of real-time context. To understand how this breaks down at an engineering level, examine this timeline of a standard audit process. The workflow begins at Node A with the baseline lock. This specific Git commit hash is cryptographically frozen for review. But between the baseline lock and the audit start at Node B, a single, unauthorized line of mutated code is introduced. This pre-audit divergence is incredibly common. It usually stems from developer miscommunication or rushed last-minute patches pushed right before the security team begins their work. That single, undocumented change instantly corrupts the mathematical logic of the entire review process downstream. The direct consequence is that the security firm spends weeks analyzing a ghost codebase. They review a specific version of the protocol that will never actually be deployed on-chain. The moment the baseline mutates without detection, all resulting security evidence is compromised before the report is even published. Without a continuous, verifiable link connecting the baseline lock directly to the live deployed state, the entire audit event is rendered mathematically meaningless. Development errors before an audit are only half the problem. The live on-chain reality introduces an entirely separate class of vulnerabilities post-deployment. Look at this smart contract architecture map. The industry relies heavily on proxy upgrades. The user interacts with the proxy contract, which routes requests to the green, audited implementation contract. This mechanism allows developers to alter live protocol logic long after an audit is complete. However, the proxy can be rerouted. The execution path snaps away from the verified logic, pointing directly to unaudited code. This exact mechanism was exploited in the Kinto protocol hack and a $10 million uninitialized proxy campaign. The logic had been swapped. Malicious actors or attackers who compromise admin keys can force these proxy upgrades to deploy hostile logic, bypassing static security reviews entirely. In the Balancer v2 access control hack, over $120 million was compromised when administrative powers subverted the security assumptions of the entire user base. An audit report from 6 months ago offers exactly zero protection against a proxy that was upgraded to uninitialized code this morning. Solving this requires a shift in architecture. The industry must move away from static reports and adopt a dynamic, continuous evidence surface. This is the Proof of Audit's Trust Passport. It serves as a user-facing dashboard displaying real-time cryptographic evidence. The core engine behind this is source mutation detection. The system continuously extracts the live on-chain bytecode and verifies it directly against the cryptographically signed hash of the baseline lock. Because it constantly checks itself, this mechanism instantly detects both pre-audit baseline divergences and post-audit proxy upgrades. The response is entirely automated. The moment a mismatch is detected, the chain of custody breaks, and the trust passport instantly flags the invalid status. Source mutation detection replaces our blind trust in marketing with a strict, real-time, unbreakable cryptographic chain of custody. While dynamic evidence secures the code you interact with, it is critical to state its limitations. It is not a guarantee of absolute safety. We define this limitation using the trust boundary. This diagram separates what can be mathematically proven on the left from what remains inherent market risk on the right. Source mutation checks strictly validate the nodes on the left side of the boundary. They confirm the reviewed code, the live execution state, and the chain of custody at the exact moment of inquiry. The system cannot predict the unknown variables on the right side. It does not foresee future zero-day vulnerabilities or eliminate systemic market volatility. True security engineering requires acknowledging this line. It is about understanding exactly where mathematical proof ends and operational risk begins. Security is moving past the stage of accepting vague audit promises. The new requirement is an explicit, verifiable audit proof. Signing a transaction based purely on a legacy marketing badge is a risk you can no longer afford to take. Before you sign your next transaction, visit Proof of Audits. Review the live cryptographic evidence on the Trust Passport. As Web3 scales, replacing static illusions with continuous, verifiable evidence is the only way this ecosystem survives.